The speaker is Veli Vehbi Bardakçı, PhD, and he is the Deputy Provincial Mufti. The floor is yours.
Muhterem Başkanım,
Distinguished Chairperson, distinguished panelists, distinguished participants watching this symposium from the meeting venue or from the online platform, I would like to greet you all. I hope that we have a gracious symposium. Training and guidance activities after the return from Hajj is going to be my paper. I'm going to present you a summary of it. So, after the return from Hajj, training and guidance activities have been conducted since 1979. So, the pilgrims going to Hajj or Umrah are undergoing such training and guidance activities to make better use of Hajj, and in this respect, such services have been provided by the relevant public organization, the Presidency of Religious Affairs, with increasing quality over year. We have seen positive outcomes of this. Hajj properly performed is bringing along many benefits. So actually making sure that these benefits sustain after the return of Hajj is also very important. Sustaining such benefits after the return from Hajj is possible through training and guidance activities. Allah instructs us to recite the Holy Quran, and wisdom, information, virtue are all encouraged in many verses of the Holy Quran. Prophet Muhammad also pays attention to the Muslims being knowledgeable about and being informed of many things. Of course, the best information is the information found in the Holy Quran, and the best guidance is the acts and actions of the Prophet Muhammad. In this regard, training and guidance activities should go on during all of the stages of the human life, like when you are a child, when you are a young person, when you are an adult, and when you are of course an elderly person. Training activities should go on. The most efficiency or productivity can be achieved when a person is a child, but of course when you are young, you can get informed of many things and you can accumulate information. But when you are an adult, the speed of learning new things may slow down, although your analytical skills may go up. That's why actually at the elder ages, when you are an adult, learning something could require more work, but you learn the worth of it even more when compared to when you are a child. So we have many schools, many training and education institutions training adults as well, or all around the world. That's why adult training activities are common in the world. That's why UNESCO describes lifelong learning as an education program. In many countries, there are adult training programs at colleges, at universities, or at higher level educational institutions. As it is the case in the basic education courses, the quality and the duration of the education and training activities for adults can be quite beneficial, and we can find the beneficial repercussions of this. In Turkey, we have started the adult training program back in 1950. There was a growing attention and interest into this topic since then. In the last decade, there have been further developments in the religious education or training of adults. The Presidency of the Religious Affairs is engaged in this task. The Presidency of Religious Affairs provides in-service trainings, or it is providing Holy Quran courses to train adults. We provide courses at mosques, and we have the TV channel of the Presidency of the Religious Affairs. There are programs for adults on that TV channel as well. Of course, in the Holy Quran, from starting with the Prophet Abraham, there are also chapters talking about the angels, talking about the devil, talking about the many other things happening in life in order to raise the awareness among the Muslims. According to Holy Quran, every person who is an adult and who has a certain level of maturity can find beneficial information for them in the Holy Quran. And the Holy Quran is actually addressing to the all of the humankind. And as it is mentioned in a verse, Prophet Muhammad is sent as a blessing for all the universes. Reciting Quran and listening to Quran is comforting. When you are reciting Quran while thinking about the meaning behind the verses, you can be further encouraged to do more favor. You can be further encouraged to forgive people, to be more generous. Of course, you should understand the message of the Quran, and then you can be an honest person as well. And when you benefit from the therapeutical impact of the Quran, you can be a calmer person as well, and you can put yourself in the place of the people mentioned in the qisas, and you can take such people whose names are mentioned in the qisas as an example in your personal life. You can be a more conscious believer, and you can be a more good Muslim, a good person in this respect. Actually, Prophet Muhammad is also recommended us to make things easier, not more difficult, and to help people. So, and to herald new things, not to make things more difficult. So in practical life as well, we can put such recommendations into our practical life. And when it comes to training activities, actually there are also practical recommendations that Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, has given to people, like how to sit, how to walk, or how to behave among others. When he was pointing to a certain kind of behavior, he was also showing himself as an example with his own behaviors. And this is a very much can be considered as a practical training course as well. And Prophet Muhammad has also trained other Muslims. He has also made efforts to make sure that other Muslims reach a certain level of wisdom. So he has undertaken his task of prophecy with such things in mind. He has solved the problems of facing Muslim people, and he has enlightened people. No matter where the question, who is the question coming from, he always replied those questions. He has given awards to those people who are showing good behaviors, and he has always warned people who are showing bad behaviors. In this regard, we can Prophet Muhammad has also made best use of the opportunities to teach people something new. After the Badr Law, for instance, for the illiterate people, illiterate slaves, for instance, there was a certain feat for to set free a slave, but if that slave is a person who can read and write, an illiterate and literate person, then that person can be set free without paying a fee if he or she can teach how to read and write to 10 Muslim children. In this respect, Prophet Muhammad also, right after Hijrat, he constructed and built Masjid-i-Nebi, which is an important place for ensuring unity among the Muslims, and an important masterpiece of the Muslim civilization. It is not only a place for ibadat where people perform salat, but after namaz, after salat, people come together. Prophet Muhammad was teaching people, training people, and Muslims were taking important decisions. Charity and sadaqah were collected there, trials were seen there, wounded people were treated there, slaves were set free, and every kind of practical issues were resolved there. And Masjid-i Nebi was also allocated, some part of it was allocated to poor Muslim people who have nowhere to stay, and it was used as a safe place to teach people. And Sufa was a place where training activities was conducted under the auspices of the Prophet Muhammad. Sometimes Prophet Muhammad provided lessons, sometimes teachers from Sahabe Ikram were training there. And Sufa was a place where there were courses to teach people how to read and write, how to recite Quran, the Holy Quran, and or how to enter a mosque or leave a mosque, how to greet people, how to talk nicely. All such manners were also taught there. In addition, students or trainees were taught about how to speak, how to enter someone else's house, how to behave in a mosque, etc. So such manners were taught there. In addition, from a Bedevi society, from a impolite society, they built up a very nice, a very well-mannered and polite society thanks to such guidance and training activities. And in such a way, Islam religion was passed down on to one generation to another. And in this respect, Hajj ibadah is actually a milestone for a Muslim's life, because when you perform Hajj with great honesty and integrity, then your past sins can be forgiven. So it is like opening a new page, a new blank page in your life. Of course, you shouldn't fill this blank page with further sins. For this to happen, you shouldn't repeat your past mistakes. That's why you should be trained after Hajj and before Hajj. The training or briefing sessions before Hajj or the guidance activities during Hajj are very beneficial, because the pilgrims, after they return home, after they return Turkey, pilgrims can get muftis or hojas in the mosques. This is for their lifelong learning. In the guidance activities, there are some issues that we should pay attention to. Training activities after Hajj are addressing the needs of the adults. So the elderly people cannot learn anything. This understanding should disappear. We can easily teach adults something, and we can easily teach the elderly people something. Of course, sometimes they may need glasses, they may need hearing devices, but still they can participate in training activities. That's why maybe we may need to spare more time for the elderly people. We may need to show more interest in them. Just like the brotherhood spirit that the Prophet Muhammad has established among the Muslims, we can also establish or start a brotherhood spirit among the pilgrims. Those who cannot recite the Holy Quran can be taught. Dr. Veli Vehbi, your time is over. Please finish your presentation in 1 minute. Okay. Your paper is going to be published, so don't worry about that. People will be able to read the details from that printed version. Okay, you have 1 minute. Thank you. After the return from Hajj, during the training of the pilgrims, with great honesty, with great motivation, or some psychological disorders, or with some physical obstacles. All such problems, physical obstacles, psychological obstacles, should be taken into account when we are training the pilgrims after the return from Hajj. So the methodology described in the Holy Quran and followed by Prophet Muhammad can be followed here as well. As people need to learn about their about potential negative and positive situations that they may face in their life, we may use qissas or ilmihals when we are training such people after the return from Hajj. As mentioned by the previous speakers, before Hajj, of course, training activities are very fruitful, but during or after the Hajj, the pilgrims should keep their contact with the Presidency of Religious Affairs during their lifetime. This is very important, and we should always keep in touch and contact with our pilgrims, talk to them about the services provided by the Presidency of Religious Affairs, and give them moral support and every support that they may need. I would like to thank you for your attention. Distinguished participants, thank you very much.
Mr. Veli Vehbi, thank you.